Hello, Sudoku friends, and welcome to the June 21st, 2023 edition of the New York Times Hard Sudoku. I was going to go out for a 12-kilometer hike around Copenhagen, but now it's raining, so I might as well do a Sudoku. And here we go. At least I hope here we go, because I don't really see anything obvious. I see a 9 blocking over and up. One of these is a 9, therefore we got a 9 here and here. Well, here or here, rather. We got 4s in these two squares. A 6 blocks across. A 6 must go here or here, and therefore we have a 6 here or here. We also have a 1 here and here. Ah, yes, look at this. 6 and 1 blocking across, 1 blocking down, 1 goes here or here. 6 blocks down, 6 blocks across, 6 goes here or here. Therefore, these two squares must be 1 and 6. Well, that's a start. And that means that a 3 must go here or here, blocking up, making these two candidate squares for a 3. We have a 2 either here or here. 8 and 6 blocking over. 8 goes here or here, and 6 goes here and here. We only have one 8, by the way, in the grid. But 6 and 8 here, that at least gives us these 3 squares, and they must be a 9, 7, and a 3. So the 9 blocks up here and down here, so here's a 9. And these squares must be a 3 and a 7. We don't have a 7 at all yet in the grid, by the way. So 3 and 7. These 4 squares must therefore be a 1, 5, 2, and a 4. 1, 2, this is a 4, 5. We got a 2, 4, 5 here, so here's a 1. And that gives us a 1 for this square, because we got these two 1s blocking up and down, and these two 1s blocking across. So back to these squares, we said that they had to be 2, 4, and a 5. So 2 must go here or here. 4 here or here, 5 we don't know much about. Oh, I was wrong when I said we didn't have a 7 in the grid yet, because we do have one up here in the corner. My bad. Not that it does much for solving this grid, at least not yet. 6, 7, 8, 9 here, 7, 9 here, this is a 6, 8. 6, 9 here, this is a 7, 8. And of course, a 9 can't go here, therefore this is a 9. These 3 squares now must be a 6, 7, 8. We got a 6 blocking here, so here's a 6. So now we got a 6 blocking across here and up here, so a 6 is forced into this square here. By the way, the 8, there must be an 8 in one of these 3 squares. But it's way too early to begin thinking about that. Except we got a 1, 6 here, 1, 6 here, we got a 6 here. The only digit missing from the party is the 1. It goes here. Now we have a 1 in one of these squares. And we must have a 3 in one of these squares up here, because this 3 blocks here and here. And that gives me a 3 for this square. And why is that? Well, this 3 blocks here, we know that these have to be 1 and 6. So 3 can't go here, here, or here. One of these must be a 3, therefore 3 can't go here or here. So here's the only square left for a 3, and that makes this a 7. Remember how we said that these must be 3 and 7, and these must be 6 and 8. So now we just need a little 3 and a 4 and a... Yes, the 3 must go here, of course, because this 3 blocks here. and we need a 3 for one of these two squares, and it obviously has got to be this square, otherwise we wouldn't have a 3 in column 3 at all. So here's a 3. And a 4 and an 8 for these squares, the 4 blocks up here. So, no, the 4 blocks over here, of course. So here's the 8 and here's the 4. 4 blocks across, therefore one of these is a 4, and therefore one of these is a 4. The two other squares in the top row must be an 8 and a 5. And we know that one of these is an 8 blocking up, so now we got a 4 and an 8 in these two squares, making this a 5. And we have a 5 in these two squares. Well, we have 5 candidates, of course, in these two squares. 2, 7, 8 here. 2, 7, 8. 8 up here. I'm not really sure about that. Let me look at something else instead, because it's so much easier to deal with something you can solve than dealing with something you can't solve. 4 and 8 here, therefore a 7, 9, and a 5 here. Let's move on to something else. 2, 5, 7, 9 across here, 9 blocks here, and 9 blocks here. So 9 goes here or here. I think I need my thinking hat now. 3, 4, 8, 9 here. 9 here or here. 9 blocks here, 9 blocks here. So we got a 9 here or here. I'm curious about a couple of squares here, because this square, as far as I can see, must be a 2, 5, or a 4. It cannot be a 4, so it's a 2 or a 5. We also have a 4 blocking here, and we also have a 3 and a 1. So this square, it can be a 2, but not a 3, 4. It can be a 5, but not a 6, not a 7, because a 7 will have to go here, 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 and not an 8 and a 9. So we got a 2, 5 here and here. Can we use that for anything that makes sense, I'm wondering? So we got a 1, 2, 4. This could be a 4, but not a 5, not a 6, not a 7, not an 8, because 8 goes here, here, and not a 9. So this is a 4. So now we got the 4 isolated here, and we got a 4 over here. So here's a 4. These three squares must be a 3, 9, and an 8. We got a 9 blocking up, so here is a 9, and this is a 3, 8. The 3 blocks over, here's an 8, here's a 3. I think that is correct. So back to the 2, 5, 2, 5. We are now looking for a 7 and a 6. We also have a 6 in one of these two squares. So can we do something across here now? We need a 7, 9, and a 5. 5, 9 block here. So here's a 7. This is a 5, 9. We got a 7 in one of these squares here now. And this square cannot be a 7 because a 7 must go here or here, right? So that means that one of these must be a 7. And we know from earlier that the other one must be a 9. So we got a 7, 9 pair here. And therefore these must be a 2 and a 5. We got a 5 blocking down. So here's a 2, here's a 5. Now we got this 5 blocking up, this 5 blocking across, a 5 goes here. This puzzle is a little tricky today, or is it just me? Probably just me. We got a 5 in one of these squares. We got a 5 in one of these squares, so we need a 5 for one of these two squares, and this 5 blocks here, so here's a 5. 1, 6, therefore 3, 7. 6, 8, therefore 2 here, and this must be an 8. So we got a 4 and an 8 up here. We know that from earlier. This square can only be a 7. And we are back to our 5, 9 here. 7, 9 here. So where do we put a 9? Here or there's 9 blocks here. So here's a 9. Sometimes you just have to stare squarely at a square and you will figure out what goes in it. Where does this leave us now with respect to these empty squares here, a 4, 4, 8, and a 2? 2 can't go here, 2 can't go here, therefore a 2 must go here, and therefore here. Now one of these is a 2, the other is a 7. These must be a 1, and the 1 blocks here, of course, so here's a 1, and the other one must be a 3. Which blocks across? This also blocks across, this blocks down, here's a 3. Now we need a 3 for one of these squares. We also have a 3 for one of these. These are still a 1, 6, right? But now we got this 1 blocking over, forcing a 6 to go here and a 1 here. Now we need a 6 for one of these squares because we have a 6 blocking across and across, but we also have 1 blocking down. So here's a 6. Still a 7, 8 here. And also a 7, 8, and a 3 across here. Amazing. Can't do much about it. But we do have the 7, 9 here, and therefore a 3, 8, and a 7 here. Can we do something with that? No. Only that a 3 must go here or here, but we knew that. So let's move somewhere else in the grid and see what we can do. 6, 7, 8 here. 6 and 7 block this square, which therefore must be an 8, making this an 8 and this a 4. Now we got an 8 in this square because this 8 blocks across, this blocks down. Here's an 8. And we finally can resolve the 7, 8 we had here. And this is now a 7 and this is a 3. Making this a 3, of course. This must be a 4. This 4 blocks up. This 4 blocks across. Here's another 4. Now we are looking at a 2 and a 5 here. 5 blocks up. So here's a 2, here's a 5, and that makes this a 5, and this a 9, and this a 9, and this a 7, and this a 7, and this must now be a 7, making this a 6, and this a 6, and this an 8. What's missing? 1 square is missing, a 2. And that's it for today's New York Times Hard Sudoku. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you are still with me, and if you liked this puzzle, would you mind giving it a like? It might help Google's algorithm present my puzzles to other viewers who are interested in solving Sudokus. And even if you didn't, thank you for watching and bye for now.